One match happening right now at the moment. It is 3-1, I think, as we speak. That is, of course, Iran and Palestine. This is Iran and Palestine holding a minute of silence before the match for the victims of Gaza. I think it was, I would hope that they held it for everybody who's killed since October 7th, because I think that way then it brings us all back together, but I doubt it very much. One quick question for both of you. Isa, I'll let you start with this. You've got 30 seconds on it, a very strict 30 seconds. Should Israel be banned, like they have been banned from the International Hockey Federation or Ice Hockey Federation? Should they be banned from world sports or sanctioned in some way, similar to way, for example, Russia have been?
I suppose we now have, when we discussed this before Christmas, one of the points I made is until there's an international sanctioning outside of sports, I don't think it's appropriate to necessarily expect sports to have to take the front running step there. Obviously, we are seeing the actions before the courts brought by South Africa, which, while they will take time, may result in sanctions coming from a different area. I think we also have to think of, irrespective of our views on the situation in Israel with Palestine, we also need to think of the safety of players and participants in sports from both sides. So if there is a risk to the well-being or safety of players by participating, that needs to be our key consideration.
Perfect. Yeah, Isel, look, we've discussed this from February 2022. We were live in the air. We discussed the same thing. We had people who were decision makers in Russian football on. We had commentators from outside Russian football. We had a lot of people on. So we've been through this. Andrew, 30 seconds starts now.
Yeah, I think he sort of hit the nail on the head with what the priority ought to be. Is obviously the purpose of a ban. That's what people forget. It becomes a moral crusade before people realise, well, what are we doing this for? The safety of the players and of fans or officials, anybody connected with games that are playing on both sides. Because no matter what anybody is going to try and do, there will be protests in and around games. That's the thing you've got to remember. What we see on TV, the 90 minutes of football, that is literally just a game. There's got to be travel there. People are staying in different countries. Do I think they should be banned? Well, there are arguments to be made for and against. Personally, I genuinely am not sure. I don't mean to sit on the fence, but only if people remember why it is in place.
Good. That's a good point. And again, the International Ice Hockey Federation, the reason why, and people jumped on this, because I first put it on Twitter, and I was like, oh, and I had spoken with one of the guys who was part of this decision-making process. And he simply said, look, Serbia said they couldn't guarantee their safety because they do know that across the border in Bosnia, in Albania as well, there are people who are not quite right in the head. And I'm sorry, they're not right in the head because they believe that killing another human being because of religion is a good thing. That's wrong. It's always wrong. Second thing as well is the UAE are in their pool as well, Division 2 of the World Championship, and UAE said it would be very hard for them to take part. So